just so loud and in your face and flamboyant.
This movie may be called Thor: Love and Thunder, but seriously, behind the scenes, they were really bringing the lightning. The innovation in this movie is bound to blow your mind, if it doesn't blow a fuse first. Number 1. We feel like they took some inspiration from how they staged the moon landing. A brand new lighting rig made the Moon of Shame scene one to remember. They seriously took strobe lights to the extreme. Like, seriously. How do you design what you can't see? The lights strobe in sequence so fast that to the human eye it just looks normal. But in the raw footage, if you went frame by frame, you would see literally the same moment in time from 6 different lighting positions per frame. They call it an undealt pack, and in post, they take the pack and deal it out based on which lights were on. Light 1, light 2, light 3, all the way up to 6. This has been used in post-production before, but this is the first time ever in filming. Number 2. Well, it's no palace, but it's home.
You wanted to live there, you wanted to vacation there.
And while it is no gigantic palace,
as you can see, you got pretty much 360.
It is the biggest set most of these actors have ever seen.
This is probably, this is the biggest set I've ever been on.
Tessa Thompson said every single storefront felt like somewhere you could walk into. It blew me away. The cobblestones, the attention to detail, and the tiniest nooks and crannies that the audience might never see. As incredible as it is to see advances in technology, what's exciting is when you can match that with practical work. That was so exciting on Thor: Love and Thunder because we had cutting-edge technology, but many people worked hundreds of hours to make something feel real. That is just incredible to get to work around.
New Asgard has insurance, and we're going to certainly submit a claim. And
Number 3. We always wondered how they did those reshoots. It would be a pain to have to set all of New Asgard back up. After building New Asgard, the environmental team took 295 high-resolution scans and LiDARs, capturing the entire environment. This was so that when they inevitably had to do additional photography, they had a set to work with without having to reconstruct New Asgard. Too bad they didn't do that with old Asgard before Thor blew it up, huh? Production VFX supervisor Jake Morrison was told, "You know what? We'd really like to do a scene with Thor and the hammer and Natalie when Stormbreaker comes in at the end. The bit where the hammer's on a barrel and he's standing in front of the shop front didn't exist at all. It was all done on a barrel in front of a blue screen outdoors in Los Angeles on a 30-foot square." Number 4. LEDs are the future, and the future is here. They projected entire environments onto a circular room of LED screens. It's a fully immersive globe of televisions. The ceiling as well. This is a huge step up from green screens. Instead of actors looking at tennis balls on sticks asking, "What is this?" to the glorious response,
I don't know. It might be a dragon, but it also might be a flying dolphin.
The volume, as it's called, made for an incredible filming experience. Hemsworth said if you're standing on the edge of a cliff looking out at a sunset, to actually be staring into a sunset certainly pulls out emotions and reactions that you may not get using a blue or green screen. It's visually stunning because you get the actual reflection off the background, a nice orange glow on your skin from the sun. It's a beautiful interaction that occurs. Turns out they don't get to use those LED screens for everything though. Number 5. The corpse of the Behemoth is a direct lift from Rubik's comic art, down to the smallest of details. Seriously, it looks like they were tracing. Isn't that cheating? Number 6. Sure, exploding cars are cool, but did you see when Taika and Chris were throwing rocks at the cars for fun? Somebody should tell their moms. But anyways, here are some exploding cars. Number 7. Omnipotence City has one rule, and one rule only. There will be no copying and pasting. Usually when you're dealing with crowds of hundreds and thousands, you can be a little lazy in post and copy and paste your background character. However, thanks to somebody's big idea to have each and every god look different, this job was made much more difficult. Jake Morrison describes his personal hell as, "No two gods should look the same," but it's the Pantheon. And there are going to be thousands of gods in there as they walk in, and holy and you get that steady cam shot as you look around and see the whole 3D version of that. And Taika's request was that every single one of those gods had to be different, which, again, from a purely artistic point of view, let alone a technical one, is a truly amazing challenge. And then every now and again, he threw out a special one like God of Dreams, and they were like, what's the God of Dreams? Big friggin' eyeball. Okay, there's a big friggin' eyeball. Or what about the God of Dumplings? What's the God of Dumplings? Just a dumpling with a face. Costume designer Mayas Rubeo said, I gave Taika some ideas about what gods could be there. My pitch was, why don't we represent every god by how it's represented in every religion? You may have an alabaster or terracotta god or an Aztec warrior made of turquoise inlay. She also made sure everything was balanced, having an equal number of male and female gods. She said, anytime I can, I'll do that. Put things in balance. So many very original costumes, and even some that didn't make the cut, and we made them all. Number 8. This reminds us of when the carnival comes to town. You can just tell this isn't your average film kids coming in to set up for a classed project in Centennial Park in New South Wales. Number 9. Does it make you sad to know there's basically an animated version of every Marvel movie you'll never get to see? Morrison said, if you know your cast up front and that there are going to be well-presented digital doubles that hold up for relative close-ups, you try as hard as you can to get light stage and Medusa captures in pre-production. However, a lot of this can be put off until post. Number 10. Literally everything gets recreated. Imagine that checklist. So at some point, the actors have to travel there. The guys need to be clean-shaven. Sucks to be Chris. The light stage captures all of the reflected values of the skin, which allows the VFX department to get a good quality render of the actor in any lighting environment. But then, the facial performances, like actual acting and physical detail of the face, are captured with a rig called the Medusa that creates high-resolution 3D meshes. For overall scanning of the body and costumes, they hire a company that will be there for the entire principal photography. The same company will scan every single prop, before it's used and after. Number 11. No, we are not giving out Skittles. That's the name of the scene.
This movie is just going to double down on Ragnarok, how vibrant the worlds are.
This movie was criticized for some pretty terrible VFX in places, which rude. People worked hard on it, guys, and the movie is still a ton of fun. But Taika isn't disheartened. He even criticized one of his own scenes, and the color of Korg.
Does that look real? In that particular shot, no, actually.
Number 12. Screaming goats are the best thing that ever happened to this world.
It's classic goat boat.
Well, not really. Once Taika is involved, there's no telling what could happen. The goats and the Rainbow Bridge and the boats are just a lot of fun, aren't they? Well, did you see the goats before they were Waititi-ified? They actually looked much chiller and far more similar. They didn't have the cute horns or ridiculous faces. They were just awesome goats. Number 13. Virtual reality is changing the world. Literally. They used a virtual reality rig with 4 sterilized headsets hung from the ceiling. Morrison described it best, saying, we would each sit in our little swivel chairs and plug in, and then we would drop into an environment that we were planning to build, and all the tools are there to fly around, look at stuff, take pictures. We had our full lens kit, what we were going to use with the live action. So you could actually frame things up and look at different angles and make adjustments. We did that for all the LED volume stuff. But the most useful thing that, since all the real sets are created in CAD before they're actually built, we were able to bring them in and look at them with the virtual reality gear. For the new Asgard village, Taika Waititi, Morrison, and the DP were flying around finding different vantages and doing sun tests. Morrison found it was a revelation for him, and he'll use it on every film from now on. Number 14. It's always interesting to see where directors draw their inspiration. Taika always wanted the film to be a bombastic, loud, colorful palette that reflected spray-painted panel vans in the 80s and rock album covers. Waititi said, I remember spending months and months perfecting the Metallica logo at school. To be able to use that stuff to reflect the crazy adventure that we're presenting visually was another one of my dreams that came true. Number 15. We know what you're thinking. We don't remember seeing Taylor Swift. Well, she didn't make an appearance in this movie. Neither did her music. But one odd thing that did inspire it was the I Knew You Were Trouble goat meme video. That's how we got our screaming goats. To Nebula's dismay. You're welcome. Thor: Love and Thunder sure loves its flashy effects. It's so cool to see how we are being propelled into the future of movies. One day we will say goodbye to the dreaded green screen for good. Do you think all of this new tech makes the final product better? Let us know in the comments, and thanks for rocking out with us here at The Things.